Hi, I'm Prerna. I'm from TIFR Mumbai, and I'll be talking about separating ABPs and some structured formulas in the non-commutative setting. So let's get started. We begin by defining the major algebraic models of computation. The most general and well-studied model is the algebraic circuit. They are rooted directed acyclic graphs in which the leaves are labeled by variables or field constants, and the internal nodes are labeled with addition or multiplication units. So every node in an algebraic circuit naturally computes a polynomial. For example, this gate computes x1 plus x2. This gate computes x1 plus x3. This gate computes the product of these two polynomials, whereas this gate computes alpha 1 times whatever is computed at this gate plus alpha 2 times whatever is computed at this gate. Here alpha 1 and alpha 2 are field constants. Now since this is the root of the graph, whatever polynomial is computed at this gate is said to be the polynomial computed by the circuit. Now if the underlying graph is only allowed to be a tree, then the model of computation is called an algebraic formula. Since the graph is a tree, in this model, reuse of expressions already computed is not allowed. For example, this gate computes x1 plus x2 and is being used twice in the circuit. However, in the formula, there are two gates which has to compute x1 plus x2 because reuse of computation is not allowed. The size of any circuit or formula is the number of vertices in them. Any n-variate degree d polynomial that is computed by circuits of size poly nd is said to belong to the class Vp. And any polynomial that can be computed by efficient formulas is said to belong to the class Vf. Now since every tree is a DAG, the class Vf is a subset of the class Vp. In the general setting, it remains open to show whether this inclusion is strict or not. However, the setting we will be studying today is one in which multiplication is non-commutative. What does that mean? For indeterminates x and y, in the non-commutative world, the monomials xy and yx are different. And therefore, the usual formula that we know for x plus y the whole square is no longer true. This is quite a natural distinction because, for example, matrix multiplication is non-commutative. What are the models of computation here? It's the same circuits and formulas that we just saw. The only thing is that we have to be slightly careful here with the multiplication gates. Since multiplication is non-commutative in this setting, it is important to distinguish the left child and the right child. Okay. Apart from this, everything else stays the same. And even in this setting, Vf is a subset of Vp. So what is known in the non-commutative setting as far as lower bounds go? The best circuit lower bound is the same as the best circuit lower bound that we know in the general setting. So it's a barely superlinear lower bound, which is known due to Bauer and Strassen. They showed that there exists an n-variate degree d polynomial such that any circuit computing it must have size at least omega n log d. So this is the same as what is known in the general setting. However, if we look at formulas, we actually know exponential lower bounds in the non-commutative setting. And this was due to Nissan in his seminal paper. So the best lower bound known against formulas in the general setting is just quadratic. And here we know exponential lower. In fact, the hard polynomial that Nissan showed the lower bound for is in Vp itself. So what this actually shows is that in the non-commutative setting, Vf and Vp are different. So Vf is a strict subset of Vp, and that is something which is proved in the non-commutative setting, and people expect it to be true in the general setting as well, but it hasn't been proved. The catch, however, is that Nissan's proof actually works against a model that is slightly more powerful computationally than formulas. This model is that of the algebraic branching programs, or ABPs. So if we denote by VBP the class of polynomials that can be computed by efficient ABPs, then VBP sits nicely in between VF and VP. That is, any formula can be converted to an ABP without blowing up the size by much, and any ABP can be converted to a circuit without blowing up the size. And what Nissan actually showed was that this inclusion is strict. Okay, so that is, he showed that VBP and VP are different in the non-commutative setting, and hence it implied that VF and VP are not equal in the non-commutative setting. So what is an ABP? It is a layered graph in which the first and the last layer consists of only one vertex each. We call them S and T respectively. And edges are only allowed to go between consecutive layers. Every edge is labeled by a homogeneous linear form in the underlying variables, and the polynomial computed by any ST path is the product of the edge labels on this path. The polynomial computed by the ABP is simply the sum of the polynomials computed by the various ST paths. And the size of the ABP is the number of vertices. The way I have defined them, ABPs only seem to compute homogeneous polynomials, but for general polynomials, what we will do is look at it as a sum of various, we will look at the polynomial as the sum of its various homogeneous components, and we'll compute each of those homogeneous components individually and then combine them to give a big ABP computing the original polynomial. So this way, the size of the ABP computing F will just be the sum of the sizes of the ABPs computing the various homogeneous components. So now that we know what ABPs are, let's see what exactly Nissan showed. Suppose F is some non-commutative polynomial of degree D. What Nissan said is that for every I between 1 and D, let us look at this matrix Mi. What does this matrix look like? So rows are labeled by all possible monomials of degree I, and columns are labeled by all possible monomials of degree D minus I. And the entry at the M1, M2 position is just the coefficient of M1, M2 in F. Okay. What Nissan proved was that for any I between 1 and D, the number of vertices in the ith layer of the smallest ABP computing our polynomial F is exactly equal to the rank of Mi. Therefore, the size of the smallest ABP computing F is the sum of the ranks of the D matrices M1, M2 up to Fd. Using this, he gave an exponential lower bound against non-commutative ABPs and hence against non-commutative formulas. However, as far as I know, there is no lower bound known against general non-commutative formulas that does not go via this characterization. That is, any lower bound known against non-commutative formulas is in fact a lower bound against non-commutative ABPs itself. Therefore, the natural question at this point is whether VF and VBP are equal in the non-commutative setting. And this was asked by Nissan himself in his original paper. And this question remains open, but what we do is we make some progress towards its resolution. Now note that the order of multiplication is very important in the non-commutative setting. And so every monomial can be thought of as a word over the underlying variables. Okay. With this in mind, we are ready to define a natural subclass of formulas. Let x1 to xm be a partition of the underlying variables. We define abecedarian polynomials or ABCD polynomials to be those in which every monomial, when thought of as a word, can be generated using the regular expression x1 star, x2 star up to xm star. That is, You start at bucket x1 and can choose to include as many variables from the bucket x1 as you want. You may even choose to not include any variable from this bucket. But once you have moved on to x2, you are not allowed to touch the bucket x1 again. For example, if capital Xi is the singleton set consisting of just small xi, then the monomial x1, x1, x2 is allowed to be present, but not x1, x2, x1. Okay, so that's what an ABCD polynomial is. And now we can define syntactically abecedarian formulas or ABCD formulas. These are non-commutative formulas with some syntactic restriction that make them naturally compute ABCD polynomials. And our main result is a tight super polynomial separation between ABCD formulas and ABPs. Okay. Let us first step back and try to understand what exactly ABCD polynomials are. So they generalize the notion of ordered polynomials, which was defined by Hubis, Wigderson, and Navier. So firstly, let's try to understand what ordered polynomials are. They are polynomials in which the underlying variables can be partitioned into buckets in such a way that in every monomial, the variable in position I has to come from the ith bucket. So let us look at some examples. The determinant polynomial is ordered. Okay, why? If we partition the variables with respect to the rows they belong to, okay, then it is ordered. Why? Because from every row, exactly one variable appears in any monomial. And if we order the variable in increasing order of the row it belongs to, then it naturally becomes ordered. So for the same reason, the permanent polynomial is also ordered. Now any ordered polynomial is also ABCD with respect to the same partition, because the partition is based on position for the polynomial to be ordered, right? And by the very definition of position, the variables appear in ascending order of their bucket indices. However, the class of ABCD polynomials is slightly bigger than the class of ordered polynomials. For example, let us look at the complete homogeneous symmetric polynomial. Here, for say n equal to 3 and d equal to 2, the monomial x1, x2 is also allowed, and the monomial x2, x3 is also allowed. So the variable x2 can appear in both position 1 as well as position 2. Therefore, it is clear that if we allow only position-based buckets, like it was allowed for ordered polynomials, then we cannot place x2 in any one bucket, right? Because it's present in multiple positions. However, this polynomial is abecedarian. Why? Let us just consider the partition where capital Xi is a singleton set consisting of just small xi. If we ensure that the variables in every monomial is ordered according to their indices in ascending order, then clearly this polynomial is abecedarian, right? With respect to this partition. Similarly, the elementary symmetric polynomial is also ABCD with respect to the same partition. In fact, if we take any polynomial and order the variables in ascending order of their indices in every monomial, then this non-commutative version of the polynomial is ABCD with respect to the partition capital Xi being singleton small xi. Okay. So just one last point before we move forward. Note that the same polynomial can be ABCD with respect to two different partitions. For example, let us consider the elementary symmetric polynomial, the ordered version. Okay, so it's the elementary symmetric polynomial with additionally the position indices added. Okay. So then this polynomial is ABCD with respect to the partition defined according to the variable index, as well as the partition defined according to the position index. Okay. So in fact, the size of the two partitions are also different, as you can see. One has size B, whereas the other one has size N. Okay, so a quick recap of the definition. Abecedarian polynomials or ABCD polynomials are those in which variables can be partitioned such that in every monomial the variables are arranged in non-decreasing order of the bucket indices. And Abecedarian formulas or ABCD formulas are non-commutative formulas with some syntactic restriction that makes them naturally compute ABCD polynomials. The exact definition is slightly technical, and so I will not mention it here. Because also the exact definition is not required to understand the proof idea. Okay. So what was the question we were trying to answer? We were trying to see if VF and VBP are the same or not in the non-commutative setting. The only paper I know which had made some progress towards its resolution before this is the one by Lagarde, Limay and Srinivasan. They had shown that any UPT formula computing the iterated matrix multiplication polynomial must have size at least n to the omega log n. I will not go into the definition of UPT formula since the restriction is of a very different kind than what we studied. So what we show is the following. There exists an explicit n square varied degree D polynomial which is abecedarian with respect to a partition of size n, such that firstly it can be computed by ABCD AVPs of small size, polynomial size, and secondly any ABCD formula computing the log n degree version of this polynomial must have size that is super polynomial in n. Okay, so basically we have given an explicit hard polynomial f and d such that fn log n can be computed by ABPs of size polynomial in n, but any abecedarian formula computing fn log n must have size that is super polynomial n, thus giving a super polynomial separation between ABPs and abecedarian formulas. Secondly, we show that suppose f is an n-variant polynomial that is ABCD with respect to a partition of small size, of size order log n, okay, where n is the number of variables, and suppose it has a small ABP complexity. Then showing a super polynomial lower bound for it against just ABCD formulas is enough to separate VF and VBP in the non-commutative setting. Okay, so what is this saying? This is saying that if your hard polynomial is ABCD with respect to a partition that has small size, then any formula computing the polynomial can be converted to an ABCD formula, and hence giving a lower bound against ABCD formulas for this polynomial is enough to show a separation between VF and VBP in the non-commutative setting. Unfortunately, the hard polynomial that we could give the separation for is ABCD with respect to a partition of large size, and hence this is not enough to separate VF and VBP. Okay, so that is our main theorem, and even though we have not been able to separate VF and VBP, what this does is open up two possible ways in which one can try to prove this separation. Firstly, is it possible to abecedarianize formulas irrespective of the partition size? So we saw that we can abecedarianize formulas if the partition size is small. But if we can do it even for large partition size, then we would have separated VF and VBP, right? Because we already have a separation for polynomials when the partition size is large. And second, the second question is there a polynomial that is abecedarian with respect to a partition of small size that witnesses this separation? This is also enough. If the answer to this is yes, then also we would have separated VF and VBP. Why? Because we know that formulas can be abecedarianized if the partition size is small. So if there is a polynomial which is ABCD with respect to partition of small size and it witnesses a separation, then that is enough to give a lower bound for general non-commutative formulas. Right? So positive answer to either of these two questions would imply a separation. And even a negative answer to any of the questions would actually be very interesting to me, at least, since I believe it would increase our understanding of the non-commutative formula. Then, okay. So, what is the explicit statement of our separation result? What is our Hart polynomial? It is a variant of the complete homogeneous symmetric polynomial. Okay, and it can also be actually viewed as a projection of the iterated matrix multiplication polynomial. So it is very similar to the complete homogeneous symmetric polynomial, except that every variable is linked to the previous variable. Okay. So in some sense, every variable remembers the index of the previous variable by storing it as its first index, and it's the second index that is its own index. So for this polynomial, we show the following statements. Firstly, it's easy to see that it is ABCD with respect to the partition that is defined using the first index of the variables. Secondly, again, it's not hard to see that there is an ABCD ABP of small size computing. And thirdly, the most non-trivial part is we show that any ABCD formula computing the log n degree version of the polynomial must have size at least n to the omega log n. Okay, so that is n to the log d for d. Because d is log n here, we get an n to the omega log n lower bound. And fourthly, we show that this lower bound is actually tight. That is, there is an ABCD formula of size n to the order log n that computes the polynomial or Hart polynomial. So this basically says that the ABCD formula complexity of the linked complete homogeneous symmetric polynomial is n to the theta log n of the log n variant linked CX. Okay. So we will now go over the proof ideas. Firstly, the ABCD ABP upper bound is very simple to check. I will just show the ABP and let you check that it is indeed computing the polynomial that you want to compute. Okay. And just to make sure, an ABCD ABP is an ABP in which polynomials computed between any two vertices is ABCD. Okay. So it's not hard to see that this ABC is actually ABCD itself. The most non-trivial part of this paper is the ABCD formula lower bound. Okay, we will now go over the proof idea for that. The proof is by contradiction. We assume that we have been given a small ABCD formula computing our Hart polynomial, which we denote by h n by 2 log n, because we'll look at the n by 2 variate version of degree log n. And the statement that we will finally be contradicting is the quasi-polynomial lower bound, which is known against homogeneous multilinear formulas for the elementary symmetric polynomial of n by 2 degree. Okay, and this was shown by Hubes and Euler. The way we will contradict this statement is obviously by using our the given ABCD formula, computing our Hart polynomial, to construct a small homogeneous multilinear formula computing E sim n by 2. And this obviously will be contradicting the lower bound. Here small is going to be something which is smaller than the lower bound, that is good. Okay. So how do we get to this? It's not hard to see that a small homogeneous abecedarian formula computing CH-sim n by 2 n by 2. So n by 2 variate, n by 2 degree, CH-sim. If we have a homogeneous abecedarian formula computing this, then it's not hard to see that we will immediately get a small homogeneous multilinear formula computing E-sim n by 2. Okay. So yeah, this is easy to see, these steps. The hard part is how do we get to this point, starting from a small ABCD formula computing our hard polynomial over n by 2 variables of degree log n. Okay. So the first step is we will be making some structural changes to the formula that will be given to us. Okay. Firstly, we homogenize it, and then we also make it more structured. Okay. We need this additional structure so that it can be used later. Okay, so one point to note is that the fact that the polynomial we are considering has low degree, has log n degree, is extremely crucial to make these structural changes. Okay. And the other thing we need is a simple observation that CH-sim of degree log n actually does have a small homogeneous ABCD formula. Okay. So this follows from the fact that the formula we get for CH-sim using the standard interpolation trick is actually ABCD, and then we use the fact that formulas can be homogenized efficiently if the degree of the polynomial is low. Now what we have is a small homogeneous ABCD formula computing CH-sim n by 2 log n. But what we want is a small homogeneous ABCD formula computing CH-sim of degree n by 2. So how do we get from here to here? Okay. Here's where the structured homogeneous ABCD formula computing a hard polynomial comes in. Okay. So this is the crucial lemma that we prove. We show that if there is a homogeneous structured ABCD formula of size s computing our hard polynomial of degree d, and there is a homogeneous ABCD formula of size s prime computing CH-sim of degree d prime, then there is a homogeneous ABCD formula computing CH-sim n by 2. Okay, this should be n by 2. Okay, so then there is a homogeneous ABCD formula computing CH-sim n by 2 of degree d prime of size s prime. Okay. So in other words, what we can show is that CH-sim is structured enough that if we start with a structured homogeneous formula computing linked CH-sim, that was our hard polynomial, then it can be used to amplify the degree of CH-sim without blowing up the size by much and maintaining homogeneity and the abecedarian structure. So that is the crucial step in our proof. Okay, and to facilitate this step, we needed to have this structural change, okay, from an abecedarian formula, and it's in this step that we need at least the abecedarian structure. So we don't know how to come from general formulas to this step 2. Okay. We need the abecedarian structure to get the structured abecedarian formula. We don't know how to come from general formulas to structured abecedarian formula. Okay. So that's all I wanted to say about this proof. Let us now move on to the proof idea of the other main theorem, where we show that formulas can be abecedarianized efficiently if the partition size is small. So this is relatively easy. We start off with an arbitrary formula computing an ABCD polynomial. We convert it to an ABCD circuit in the most natural way, and then we finally unravel this circuit to get back a formula. The analysis of the last step is the most non-trivial part of the proof, and it is along the same lines as Raj's proof of multilinearizing formulas. Okay? And therefore, for very similar reasons to why Raj's proof required the degree of the polynomial to be small, we need the size of the partition to be small for this step to be efficient, the third step. Okay. So finally, I will end with some simple observations that sort of show that statements that are known to be true in the non-commutative setting continues to hold with the added abecedarian restriction. So firstly, circuits and MEPs computing ABCD polynomials can be made abecedarian without much blow up in size. Secondly, the usual inclusion of VF being subset of VBP being a strict subset of VP continues to hold if we put the added abecedarian restriction. And thirdly, if F is an abecedarian polynomial of degree D that is computable by an ABCD ABP of size S, then there is an ABCD formula computing the polynomial of size S to the order log D. Okay, so this is the usual divide and conquer proof, and what this shows is that our lower bound is tight because our polynomial did have a small sized poly-sized ABP, and hence it will have n to the order log D sized ABCD formula. And lastly, the fact that homogenization is easy when the degree of the polynomial is low. What this shows is that proving lower bounds against homogeneous formulas for low degree polynomials, like the polynomial that we gave the lower bound for, or even the well-studied iterated matrix multiplication polynomial of low degree, would imply that VF and VVP are different in the non-commutative setting. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.